Oh, I was going to do it. Hello. Do you know where the iPad is, Maya?
No.
I was going to go live on Instagram as well at the same time. So I'll just see if anyone's around. I just wanted to hop on to do a quick video on something that I get asked a lot about. So say hi if you're there so I can see you. Look like I've got makeup on, but I've just been outside in the cold, so I'm all flushed. Say hello, let me know who's there and who's watching. And it would also be great if you could share the video so that we can get more people watching, so I can get a few people on. And then I'm going to talk to you about when you just can't be arsed, which I think we could probably all safely say we have moments like that. Whether you want to call it lack of motivation or that you just can't be arsed or whatever you want to call it. It's something that happens to all of us, basically. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about it in a minute. So say hi so I can see who's there. Say hello. And also it'd be great if you would share the video if you find these videos useful so that we can get more people joining us. And then in a second, I am going to talk to you about not being arsed, having no motivation, not having your mojo. Hi, Shell. So yeah. Have you got false lashes on? I have, yes. They're quite full on, aren't they? I know, but you know what? It's not really my thing, if I'm honest. I don't actually very often wear makeup, as you will see when I do my lives. But the other day I just fancied them, and then I thought, oh, what will people think? And, you know, they're a bit much, blah, blah, blah. And then I thought, sack it. Go for it. And my mum keeps laughing every time she looks at me because she's like, oh my God, those lashes. But I'm getting used to them now, and yeah, only live once. So yeah, so please do share the video if you found my videos useful. And so what I'm going to talk about now is this idea of when we just can't be arsed. So I get a high volume of messages around people. Hi, Tonya. Oh, thank you. I get a lot of messages from a lot of people basically along the lines of, I can't be arsed, I've got no motivation, I can't get stuff done, whenever you procrastinate. You know, for me, it materialises into procrastination because I work for myself and I've always got tons of admin and stuff to catch up on and messages. And when I can't be arsed, that sort of stuff just doesn't get done because actually I don't have somebody there to going, you know, get it done. So actually it's sometimes really difficult to get that motivation, to get that push to do something. But ultimately, if you hear yourself saying that you can't be arsed, it's just a statement. And it's just as easy to think you can't be arsed as it is to think, actually, I really can be arsed and I want to do this. We will all have thoughts at times that say, I can't be arsed. I don't really want to do this. I can't be bothered. Whatever that looks like for you, we will all have those thoughts. It's really normal and really natural. Like, we're not completely on top of the world and full of energy all the time. But the difference is, there's a difference between having a thought of, oh, I really can't be asked to do that, and feeling so demotivated and downtrodden that it almost feels impossible to do what you want to do. And the only difference between those two is a whole load more shitty thinking in between. So, for example, if I was to say that thought may come and, you know, I might get up in the morning and think, I can't be arsed. I'm not feeling very motivated today. I don't want to do anything. And then as I start just putting one foot in front of the other and getting on, that thought falls away because I'm thinking about other stuff. And then, you know, then I might have a fresh thought that comes in and goes, actually, I'm going to do this today and I quite want to get this done. And, or say, for example, I just start doing something. So, for example, if I get up and the house is a tip and I think I can't be arsed and I need to tidy it, if I sit there going, oh, I need to tidy it, and oh, why can't I be bothered, and where's my motivation, and if only I could feel like this, and why is it only me that's like this? That is just all feeding that complete feeling of can't be arseness, and will just carry on and continue. But actually, if I just start doing a little something, so I might think, right, you know, the whole house is a tip, but I'm just going to sort the washing out. And I'm not feeling that arsed about doing it, but I'll put one foot in the front of the other and I'll do it. Like, we don't have to feel motivated to do something, because again, motivation is simply thought related. And actually, once I start doing something, then my thoughts might shift to, oh, this feels quite satisfying, or it's not as bad as I thought it was. It's not taking me as long as I thought it was. Oh, it feels nice when it's been done. Those thoughts are then going to start to create feelings of satisfaction and enjoyment. And that's then going to feed, and I'm probably going to get shitloads more done. So there's my motivation. So your motivation is not something that you have or you don't have. It's not like a magic sprinkle that some people have and some don't. It's still thought related. And when you have the thought of, I can't be arsed, hi Thomas, what do you mean by fresh thinking? Okay, so what I mean is, all our thinking, we've got constant fresh thinking. But what sometimes, which is basically just new thought, a new idea, a new perspective. But what happens is when we have a thought and then we overanalyze it, so like I've just said, oh, I can't be arsed. If I then, you know, in a way I'm just like, well, no, I can't be arsed. I can still get on with stuff with a feeling of can't be arsed. But if I then start to ruminate on that idea that I can't be arsed, like, why can't I be arsed? What's wrong with me? Why am I always like this? Why do other people seem to have the motivation? Why? Beating myself with a stick because I can't be arsed is not going to help me be arsed. It's not going to suddenly make me feel motivated. And actually, we don't need to be motivated to do something. It's just, you know, you'll have heard it loads of times, and it's not just said, you know, for the sake of it. It's really true. Small steps. Small steps. So if it feels like you've got a big mammoth task to do, well, you just need to tackle one tiny part of it. Because as soon as you start tackling it and putting one step in front of the other, it feels better. Like, I've just been on a dog walk. I couldn't be arsed. I really couldn't be arsed. So as I was walking out the door, putting my coat on, seeing it was dark and cold and wet, and I really couldn't be arsed, you know, my thoughts were, this is crap, this is shit. And I nearly went to a place of, why do I have to do it? Why can't someone else do it? Blah, blah, blah. When actually, I just thought, you've got your coat on, you're at the door, you're going to do it. Just see how you go. You don't have to go far. And I stepped out, and actually I went an okay distance, because once I started, that thinking fell away, and I had fresh thinking. Fresh thoughts like, actually, this is good for me. Actually, this rain feels quite nice on my face. It's not going to kill me. You know, it's that kind of, that's fresh thinking. That's new thoughts. And that's all motivation is. So somebody that is motivated just has much more motivational thinking going on at that moment. And even the most passionate person, somebody that's really massively into the gym, they're going to have times where they don't feel motivated, where they can't be asked to do that. Even if 90% of the time they can, they're going to have times when they can't. But it's just the getting on and doing it, little bits, and giving yourself permission to not go at it full throttle. So by giving myself permission to go on a small dog walk, I went on a medium one. Whereas if I'd have been forcing myself, oh, I've got to do it, but it's got to be a big walk, then I probably would have said to myself something like, oh, if it's got to be a big walk, I can't be arsed yet, so I'll sit down for 10 minutes and then I'll see. And then before you know it, the time's gone and I really can't be arsed. And so the dog might even miss out on a walk. So it's about how we talk to ourselves. It's about our expectations. We do not have to feel motivated to get things done. And if you are constantly waiting till that time you feel motivated, you're setting yourself up, you're trapping yourself, you're setting yourself up for a fall, because whilst you're waiting for it, it's almost acknowledging, or you're saying to yourself that you're waiting for something to happen to you, or for something to change, that you know, that some magic formula, when actually it's just a new thought, which will be something along the lines of, maybe it's not that bad. I can do it. I don't have to be really happy about it. I can just get it done. You know, an example is with my daughter with her homework. I say all the time. She's like, oh, I've got loads and I can't be bothered and I don't want to do it. And I've got this subject and this subject. It's like, yeah, if you think about it like that, it's so overwhelming. So I say, just pick one. Just pick one. Forget the rest for now. Just pick one and just get it started. And then not every time, but then sometimes you're like, oh yeah, it's not that bad. And now I've done this and this and this. And because the momentum it's just momentum. Yeah. And momentum has to start with some movement. It doesn't even have to be a big movement. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a big, massive, powerful blast. It can literally be a tiny, small step, but it's movement which will start to create momentum. Yeah. So I just wanted to share that because it is one of the things I hear a lot, and I hear people say, I've got no motivation and I can't be bothered and I don't know where to start. And it's almost like they're asking for me to kind of give some sort of formula or strategy or magic answer to how you get motivation. And it's just literally a shift in your thoughts and your perspective. Someone's put here, it's hard to get out of bed some days. Sounds funny, but it's not. No, I get it. And I think, again, a lot of people will have experienced that. I know I have. In fact, I'm not really a morning person. And most mornings, I would give anything to even get an extra 10 minutes, 20 minutes in bed. Like, literally, I would. And it's really silly and irrational, but I just, just desperately feel like I need that extra time in bed. But so we'll all feel like that. And sometimes it's about, so in the way that I've just talked about, then it's about accepting. So if you're then, say for example, if I had a lie-in in the morning then because I just couldn't be bothered to get up, it's about kind of going, well, that's a decision that I've made and it's not the end of the world. But if I lie in bed feeling like I can't get out of bed, and then my thought process is, this is terrible, I shouldn't be doing this, I'm really crap for staying in bed, and what's wrong with me, maybe I'm depressed, maybe I'm this, and have all this negative thinking, then I'm not going to feel like getting up at all. Whereas sometimes I go, well, actually, if I'm going to have extra time in bed, then I'm going to embrace it and I'm going to enjoy it. And if I still feel like I can't get up, then I might go, do you know what? I'll just get myself to the sofa and put the TV on for a change of scenery. So this is this thing about momentum. It's not like having to get up and go out and do a big food shop or do this or do that. Like, sometimes we can't be asked, but that's okay. But it's about giving yourself permission to go with what is, and just small steps. And as silly as it sounds, like I literally sometimes would think, well, and when I was really particularly anxious, I wouldn't want to get up at all. Then I think, do you know what? I'll just get up, have a wash and get dressed, and that's all I'm going to do for now. I'm not even going to consider what comes after that. Because as soon as I would start to consider what might come after that, it could send me into a panic or a spiral, because I'd be thinking, but I don't want to, and I'd have this internal battle. So I'd just say, I'll get up, get dressed, and then if I sit on my arse after that, that's fine. But what would usually happen, as soon as the momentum would start, and I think, actually, maybe I can do a little bit more. Maybe I'll do a little job as well, or maybe I'll just go on a 5-minute walk, or maybe, it's momentum. Whereas if we try and picture the end result when we can't be arsed and we're not motivated, it's like, oh God, it feels like a mammoth task. So don't think of it like that. Small little steps. All we've got is now, and you don't know how you're going to feel in an hour's time. But what I do know is, it's more likely you're still going to feel shit in an hour if that whole hour is spent thinking about how crap and how demotivated you are. Rather than just accepting what is and getting lost in that moment, whatever that looks like, whether you be lay in bed or sat on the sofa or miles away, it doesn't matter. It's your relationship with those moments that make them feel so shitty. And keep that motivation low, because you are telling yourself you shouldn't be doing it. There's something wrong with you. Why are you doing this? Why can't you get motivated? it's like that with lots of stuff, isn't it? Like, oh, I'm going to start a diet on Monday, so I'm going to pig out between now and then. I'm going to eat my whole body weight in chocolates on a daily basis because come Monday, that's it. I am shackled to this diet. And you might even wake up on Monday and feel really quite motivated because you've thought about it and you've set yourself up. But the chances are it isn't going to last because your thoughts will shift and change, as will your state of mind and your mood. And so, as motivated as you might be at sometimes, that is going to drop at some point. But it's about us being okay with that drop and going, okay, I'm not feeling quite motivated at the moment, but not getting caught up in the cycle of beating yourself up for it and overthinking the fact that you're feeling like that, because it will pass and it will shift and you will have fresh new thinking that will come along. Maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that. I find it a lot, again, in my work. I'll have loads of ideas and I'll think I'll do this and I'll do that, and then sometimes I'll overwhelm myself with too much stuff. And then I think, oh, I can't be arsed now because it's too much and it's too big a task. When actually sometimes if I just sit down and put pen to paper and just start something, and I do that with a blog, I'll think, oh, I'll write a blog on this, and then I'll say, well, I should do it and I need to do it today and put pressure on myself. And then I think, oh, I can't be arsed. When actually if I just sit in front of the computer and say, all right, I'm just going to for 10 minutes sit here and type and see what comes out, I'll just bang it out like that. Because there's no pressure, there's no expectation, there's no, you must do this. You must feel motivated and feel really, engaged in doing what you're doing. I just do things in short bursts now because that's all I need to do. Because lots of those short bursts add up to really quite a lot. Yeah, so don't wait till you feel motivated. You don't have to be motivated or feel on top of the world to get shit done. You just need to do something little, something small, because all those small things build up. And actually, do you know what? In my experience, again, talking about work particularly, in my experience of being successful and getting where you want to be in life and goals, I've actually got much further when I have done stuff in really small little bits rather than in big, huge bursts, because it's much easier to maintain and be consistent when it's little and often. So you don't need to be motivated. You don't need to feel on top of the world. It's just accepting, not beating yourself up, and just taking little, small steps. That's it. So if you do feel like you can't get out of bed and you're stuck in bed, rather than going, oh, I need to be up and about and doing X, Y, and Z, and I need to be like Joe Blogs next door who's in the garden every day and I see them out doing this and yet I'm here festering in my bed. No, too much. Just think to yourself, okay, I'll get up, I'll brush my teeth and I'll put some clothes on. And I'm not going to think any further past that just now. That is enough. That is okay. And the chances are once you're dressed and you've brushed your teeth, another thought will come of, oh, I might make myself a cup of tea now. Again, when I was really particularly anxious, even the thought of having to make tea used to send me anxious. Because I think, oh, I don't think I can face making tea. I can't be arsed and I don't want to. And then, well, then we won't eat and then I might feel ill and I might feel worse and did all of this big spiral. Then just start it and see. Yeah, Arlene says, nobody knows who've suffered depression, anxiety until they suffer themselves, fed up listening, get up and go for a walk or get out, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get it. I've been there myself. And yet I am actually somebody who would still say to someone, try and get out if you can, because when I'm feeling okay, like now, I can see the benefits of that. But I'm totally with you in that there were times where people say, go for a walk, you need to do this or you need to do that. And I'd just be thinking, I just wish it was that simple. It didn't feel that simple to just be able to go and do that stuff. And the reason now when I look back and reflect is because anything like that felt a pressure and an expectation. It felt too much. So now I would say anything that feels too much, just shorten it. So rather than thinking, I need to go on a walk, just think, well, I can just go out in the garden and pick up a few leaves for 2 minutes, open a window in your room and let some air in even. You know, it doesn't have to be a big thing. One thing at a time. And as I said before, even just getting up and brushing your teeth and putting some clothes on sometimes is enough. And you will find that bit by bit you will feel a little bit more like you want to do a bit more and a bit more. So yeah, because there's a fine line between, you know, being grounded out in the fresh air, because it does help to be out, it does help to be connecting with people and all of that, because as human beings that's really what we need and what we crave. But it's also not that helpful to try and force ourselves into stuff that really does not feel comfortable in that moment. It's finding that balance, tiny little bit at a time. Love your lashes, thanks. Yeah, exactly, Thomas. It doesn't have to be huge. Because again, you know, someone's idea that, oh, if you go on a walk, that's really helpful. Some people might think that a 3-minute walk's enough. Other people might think, oh, it's got to be at least 3 miles for it to be worthwhile. Again, it's all perception, isn't it? It's about doing what's right for you and what actually, you know, sometimes when you feel that shit, brushing your teeth and getting dressed does feel mammoth. And yet to other people, they'll do it without even giving it a second thought in that moment. And again, that's just where we're at at that time. Really struggled this week to motivate myself to do anything. I've been really angry at myself, feeling like I'm letting myself go. Tonight, though, I've just accepted I'm knackered right now and need to rest. Yes, Scott, I can promise you 1,000,000%, and someone will always tell me, you can't have 1,000,000%, it only goes up to 100, so don't bother, I do know. But I can promise you 100% that trying to force yourself into motivation is not going to give you motivation. It's okay to not feel motivated. It's okay to do the bare minimum, because what you'll find is once you just allow and accept and don't resist, you'll just start to feel that you'll get those thoughts will start to creep in of, yeah, I'm going to do this today, or I fancy doing this, or I'm going to do that. You know, again, things like when I've got to make changes on my website, which is never finished because I never get round to finishing it. And it's like, well, I need to do this. As soon as I've got a list, I just can't be arsed. But actually, if I just one day go, I'm going to sit on the computer for half an hour and do a bit on my website, I can sometimes be sat there for hours because there's no pressure, there's no expectation. It's just organic. I'm just starting. I have no idea where it's going to finish. There's no pressure. And it just feels easier. So have the rest. And then just do the bare minimum. Just do what you need to do to get by bit by bit, and it will just start to come back. It's just a very natural ebb and flow of life. You know, we're up, we're down, we're up, we're down. And overall, we get some consistency. We can't stay motivated up here. You know, if people try and stay highly motivated for long periods of time, the chances are that they will end up, you know... sorry, I was just thinking this, I just put off them with somebody commenting that we're just, you know, just bit at a time, slowly. Oh yeah, that was what I was going to say. People will burn out, and burning out is crap. We don't want to burn out. We want overall consistency. We're not aiming for perfection. It doesn't exist. Hard when you have a kid who doesn't understand and just thinks you are lazy and stays in bed. He's 22. Well, do you know what? It's his perspective and his perception. You can't force people into seeing anything otherwise. I know that, again, when I was anxious, people would have thought I was being lazy. I was being anything but lazy. My mind couldn't have been running any faster, to be honest. The energy that took, it was exhausting and draining. And all you can really be responsible for is yourself. You could be rushing around the house at 1,000,000 miles an hour and have everything done, and he could still decide that you're lazy. It doesn't matter. I know it's frustrating, but actually the important bit is that you know and you do what's right for you. Someone's always going to see you as lazy. I can remember, when I used to work in recruitment, and I would work literally hours and hours in the week, and I'd be so tired, and we'd go out for drinks after, and sometimes I'd go in with a hangover the next day, and it was really bloody hard work. It was exhausting. And then some people might think that the fact on a Saturday that I would then not get out of bed till gone 10 in the morning, I was really lazy. Because some people's idea of someone that's lazy is if they're not up by 9 a.m. or they've got to work a certain number of hours a week, or like we've all got our perception of an idea of what lazy is, but it's all bullshit because it's just our perception, you know, and ultimately it's up to us. Yeah, it's up to us as to what's right for us. So let him think what he wants and just crack on doing what you're doing and what feels right for you. It's not up to anybody else. So yes, I just thought I'd share that with you. And as I said earlier, if you find these videos useful, I really would appreciate you sharing them, because basically the more you share them, the more people that watch them, and you know, it's just good. And when I do Q&A ones, then we'll get more questions and things like that. So I do appreciate it when people share. I don't tend to promote or pay for any advertising on Facebook, because quite often because they get blocked because I'm a bit sweary at times. Like I can't promote my book for sale via a Facebook ad because it's got the word fucker in the title. Anxiety is a fucker. So I can't actually promote it, which is a bit frustrating, really. So I do rely on people sharing and spreading the word for me, but everybody does a fab job. I appreciate it. Yes, it is our life and not anybody else's, Scott, and we only get one. Jamie, it's horrible, ruined all my relationships due to my anxiety. I want to do all these things, I make plans, and when it comes to it, I can't even leave my bed. Yeah, and I get that it'll affect relationships, but that is a bit of a vicious cycle, because you're probably putting pressure on yourself, worrying that, well, what if I can't do this, and I'm going to let them down, and then you feel worse, and then you don't want to get out of bed. So, you know, again, it's about starting off and going, actually, I will go out, but if I don't feel good, and I'll give myself permission to come back. You know, I just mentioned in my book then, one of the chapters in my book is actually about relationships and how it impacted on me and my husband, the fact that I had anxiety, because, you know, he was faced with the same thing quite a lot, but it was a vicious cycle, because then I, you know, read into that what he was thinking and that he didn't care and all of that sort of stuff. And there was a lot of miscommunication. So yeah, so I wrote a chapter on that, because it is actually really, really important part for a lot of people. You put Lucy, yeah, it's all right for them to be up all night on the PlayStation then stay in bed. Yeah, exactly. It's all about perception. And don't you worry about what he says. Anyway, Mum's always right. He should know that. Hi, Abby. It is live at the moment. Yes, I'm going to be ending shortly, but I do pop on as often as I can. First time I've watched, and you've definitely are helping, thanks. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I do try and pop on as much as I can. But yeah, as I say, I do rely on people sharing it for me and spreading the word so that I can reach more people. So I will pop the link to my book in here, because I usually do get a couple of messages afterwards asking where to find the link. So I'm going to pop it in there. Because Facebook sometimes blocks it because it's got a sweary title. Let's have a look. Oh, thanks, Scott. Yeah, you can get it. I've just put a link. It's actually on my... Abby, you can totally and utterly overcome this. You are creating it in your mind, my dear. You're not broken. You are all good underneath that thought storm. Right, I've just pinned that link to... That's where you can order my book from my website, but you can also get it on Amazon. If you're not in the UK, you can get it on Amazon. Or if you want the Kindle version, you just have to search for Anxiety is a... and then the letter F, because it's just a load of starred for Anxiety is a fucker, or is it? But if you just search Anxiety is a F... it will bring it up. It's got a pink cover with somebody sat on a sofa with a glass of wine that's been drawn. So yeah. And if anybody has read it, and I know, because I've asked this before, because Amazon doesn't tell me who's purchased the book. It's confidentiality, of course, which is fine. So I can't ask people to pop reviews on if they've enjoyed it. So I ask on here for anybody that's purchased it on Amazon and you have enjoyed it, then please give me a review, as it helps other people who are then looking to buy it. My daughter's just here to say hello. You got your pyjamas on? Okay, so thanks for all the love on the lashes. The crazy lashes. How many smoothies have you had tonight? Hey?
A few.
She's decided she's not eating chocolate for how long?
A month and a bit.
For a month and a bit. She's just decided this herself. So she's like literally going mad on smoothies instead. Arlene gonna order now. Oh, good. Okay, yeah. Get it on Amazon or on the link that I've just pinned to the page there. And let me know what you think, and let me know if you've got any questions at all about it. It's basically me talking about my own journey and experience with it, and the insights that I've had along the way, and how I see things now. So it's just me sharing what I saw, in the hope that you can then reflect on some of your own stuff. What are you doing, you numpty? Oh, you're squashing me. You're getting heavier. So yeah, so from me and Maya, we will say goodbye. And thank you all for joining me. And thank you for all the shares and all the likes and all the comments, for helping me spread the word and reach more people. I really do appreciate it a lot. What are you doing now? Putting filters on? What are you doing? Laughing? Oh, I didn't know you could do that. You've seen all these filters on flipping Facebook and... What are you doing? You know, rate your face and all stuff like that. It's just bizarre. Oh my God. Right, okay, I'm going to go whilst this child is getting carried away. Okay, good night, everyone. Oh, you too as well, Julie. Okay, let me know how you get on. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye. Can you press the finish button for me?